Hi guys, I've just got off Zoom with Dave Johnson and we had a little competition about the best nicknames for Trump. So I want to thank all intrepid viewers who have contributed. We had a great list. So I'll put the link up here if I can manage it. And moving on, Bolton's gone. The worst 70s porn star moustache in government has gone. I think the sleepover with the Taliban was actually a bridge too far. Bolton was an absolute hawk in his heyday, still is. And this is the thing with the Yeti. He doesn't realise what he does with one country affects another country, affects another country, affects another country. He just goes, oh, I think this here and this there, and he hasn't got the slightest clue how the world works. And it's beginning to show. So I want to read on, what am I reading on today? Where the impeachment stuff's at with the Dems. But we've got other things. We've got, now Trump's disenchanted with Fox. He's looking for a new outlet or a new platform. Can you imagine? It'll be a bastion of quality journalism. If it leaves Fox in the shade, can you imagine who will be the anchors on this mythical program? So God knows what will happen with that. But let's concentrate on what's happening with this impeachment stuff, these proceedings, these initial investigations, all of it. So I've got to move the computer back. And I want to do a more substantial spread on this today. This is on the Dems and impeachment. Where are they at? Where are they at with this stuff? Yep. Dems and impeachment. It seems like a no-brainer, but who knows? Now, all right, the central card, yeah, they're going to come to an agreement. I like that. What's... Oh, God. And four. All right, so let's start with these four cards. Okay. They're desperate to come to some sort of agreement on it. What is behind this? Why impeach? Well, that would be Trump Tower, wouldn't it? I mean, really. I'm not going to call it the Tower card anymore. It's Trump Tower. It's like every day is a new impeachable infringement. But somehow he's managed to skate through it until now. What's across this making a deal card? I think this is Dems making a deal with each other. This is the two factions that need to come together. The Pelosi faction and versus the other more progressives who really want to see impeachment go ahead. So this is the goal, if you like, in this position. But they're struggling to get there, the card of disappointment. They've also got to watch this, first digression viewers. I think we're all grown up enough here on this channel to understand that Nancy Pelosi has her reasons for dragging the chain. But are those reasons good enough? Now, they might be. She might know lots of things that we don't, and it might be right. But they're risking disappointment with each other that could come back to haunt them next year. But they're also risking, it's a very difficult one with the public, because on the one hand, there's a good percentage of people who go, what are you waiting for? What does he have to do to push you guys into impeachment mode? So they're getting a bit disappointed, and no doubt some of you are in this camp. So there is this feeling of disappointment coming out if they don't go ahead. But there are pitfalls with going ahead. It's not easy stuff. It's not easy. So back to the reading. Now, we might well get another compromise card here, but this is certainly the card of the harvest and the card of evaluation. Underneath this whole conversation on impeachment, is it going ahead? What does it look like? What does it take? So this is what they're doing at the moment, is evaluating. Have we got a cast iron case against this man? I can't believe they haven't. So what is the problem? Maybe we can throw some light on what the problem is. So going back, money. Yeah, digression number 2, viewers. This is one of the criticisms of Pelosi, and to a certain extent Schumer and also Hillary. They have come through the last 40 years of politics, which has been the same 40 years of corporate capitalism, where the Democrats have had to prove that, they're not a soft touch, that they can compete and still attract big business and big corporations and not be a threat to big business, to have big business on side. This is what's gone wrong with the entire world. So you now have a situation where countries are really no longer even countries. They're just holding pens for corporations or something. So the fool's gold. This is the money that lobbyists pay to get their agenda. A lobbyist should be someone who influences, but it shouldn't be a guarantee. If I give you a donation of X, you will definitely let me put up my filthy factory in your town. It's become like that. It's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. And this is fool's gold. Right, so what's over their reading? Yes, I think it's the trade stuff. This is actually their strongest card. The lunacy of the tariffs is becoming apparent. The real job losses are starting to bite. I was reading somewhere this morning, I think, where an estimated 350,000 jobs have been lost since the introduction of the tariffs, and that's going to go up. They're in the pipeline. They haven't all happened yet, but they're going to happen as people can't secure their supply lines. The Dems bring a sensible, grown-up approach to trade that's certainly more open, more global, and that's to be commended. But if they want to do it the old way, the old Hillary way, the old Pelosi way, I don't know if that's enough. I think they need new energy. But trade, funnily enough, is going to move more people into the impeachment camp, including Republicans. Republicans who are still reluctant to speak. But I've always said this, viewers, once the economy bites and once conservatives build their voices, it will then turn into a cascade, but we haven't got there yet. Okay. So, what can we expect going forward here? Page of Pentacles. This is the new way of doing everything. This is the new message. This is the squad. This is young people voting. This is youth having a new attitude towards money. And that's why someone like Andrew Yang, who's advocating a universal living wage, is gaining popularity with young people, just as Bernie did in his time. So they have to start listening seriously to young people, not in this tokenistic way. Now, how do the Dems see themselves at the moment? They see themselves as the Hierophant, the ones who are holding on to the institutions, and you'd have to say they're right. They're the ones that are trying to hold the Yeti accountable to the normal legal structures of the nation. They're doing their best to do that. What is their biggest challenge? Page of Swords, spy in the camp, and maybe more than one. But also, even though the pages are usually useful, I think this is more the upraised sword of the GOP. The GOP is getting desperate, and far from being the grand old party, they've become the greedy old party, and they are themselves in need of youth. I don't see them attracting youth. That's their challenge. So the Dems are attracting young people who are thinking. They're thinking about the environment. They're thinking about their futures. They're thinking about their college debt. They're thinking they want a different society. Now, as intrepid viewers know, I'm a sociologist by trade. And as I say to my students, the problem is we don't live in a society anymore. We've been taught that we live in an economy. No, I'm sorry. Societies are made up of people. They're not just the economic levers of power. And we've all been sort of made to think whatever's good for big business, magic word, J for jobs. And it's not in people's best interests. We're at the beck and call of these outrageous companies. Okay, so what's the atmosphere within the Democratic Party? Yeah, a bit too smug by the old guard. I'm not happy with that. It's, on the one hand, it should be a great card. It's a 9. It's getting towards the end of a cycle. It's cups, which are emotion. He's happy enough. He's good enough. But in this position, on this topic that we're talking about today, I don't like it. Okay, so it's like what's becoming clear, there's a deafness from the old guard to the young guard, and they're a bit too smug. Oh, we've been around forever. We know how it all works. Well, I'll tell you something for nothing, viewers, and that's the last thing we need in Australia, Canada, the UK, or the US is same old, same old. We need new solutions, and we need them really quickly, and we need a new way of looking at how we interact with each other in our societies. Okay. So, coming up shortly, oh, things get a bit better, then a lot of work, victory at any cost. It's going to get ugly, frankly. It starts off all right. So this is the card of, to a certain degree, of privilege and comfort, but it's not getting through. People are struggling. People are working really hard, and we now have the working poor. That is, you've got a job or 2 jobs, and you're still struggling. They're not picking up on this. And the reason I think they're not picking up on this is they're fixated on this win at all costs mentality. In other words, The most important thing is to get rid of Trump. Yes, we'd all like to nod and agree with that. But how much are you prepared to think everything's all right and that is the best way to go forward? What that means is Biden. Now, I understand how Biden comes across as the teddy bear for America. I understand that. There's a really easy path to making that case. People are comfortable with him and so forth. But is he the best person for the job? I'm really not sure. Look, before I go, I'm going to give you a segment. Too much news, not enough gossip. I love these segments. So, first on that list has to be... I've got two things for this. One is Bill Gates and Epstein. And the other, Jerry Falwell Jr. He's fallen flat on his little Botoxed face, hasn't he, this week? Long overdue. Couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke, as my father would have said. Bloke is Australian slang for dude or guy or whatever. We have blokes. So when an absolute creep falls on their face, Dad would say, couldn't have happened to a nicer bloke. He so deserved it. All this crap about the prosperity gospel, all this twisting of religion. So let me... Hold on, I'm just going to pause this. There's a bit of background noise. Okay. Jerry Falwell, Liberty University. See, these guys, this is corporate welfare again. They get paid by the government for these fake universities where students pay and then don't get a real education. You know, it's a total scandal. He, of course, has got photographed a lot in nightclubs. I love this. It's the hypocrisy, isn't it? You know what I say, intrepid viewers? The evangelicals, they live in fear of being caught in a cheap motel with a live boy or a dead girl. There's going to be more scandals, I think. Falwell, let's have a quick look. Yeah. Oh, he's going to lose money. Oh, women are going to bring him undone. Oh. He has here the Four of Wands. And the Wands is, if you like, you could look at this castle as his empire, right? And he, you know, has been a celebrated figure, almost a cult figure himself, because of coming from such a famous family. But I always look at this card as... Oh, shush, dog. Oi! Stop it! Oi! Stop it! Pussy! Enough. Sorry about that. Dogs just went past. Enough! Sorry, I have to get grumpy on the camera here. He always has to have the last word. Okay, enough. Now, diminished celebration. The people aren't with him anymore. Suddenly there's been a break in the wall of loyalty to Jerry Falwell. I'm thrilled. Holding on to his money because he's going to lose truckloads of it. Hidden agendas, we are not surprised here, but also female sexual energy could bring him undone. Here he is, Ace of Wands, the Fred Flintstone card. This is him. He will have very good lawyers, very expensive lawyers to back him up. But at the end of the day, it'll be a primitive attempt to cover up. And the King of Swords, legally, he's done like a dog's dinner. Oh, well, there you go. Now, just ever so quickly, what's happened with Bill Gates? Actually, I might save Bill for the next video because this is already 20 minutes. So, I wanted to thank Moira also. Months ago, Moira sent me the money to get a t-shirt from Johnny, and Johnny very nicely didn't charge me. So I'm using that money. I want to say thank you to Moira, and I'm using it to subsidise a reading for someone who couldn't afford one. So that will be passed along. You're becoming familiar with the phantom in the back. It's another one of the Maori uncles. Okay. So I'll be back to you soon, and too much news, not enough gossip. I'll do Bill Gates. Okay. So I'll see you soon. Good to catch up. Bye now.